Hey y'all. So I wanted to talk about something today about specifically unconditional love and like my take on that. Okay. I know people hear about you'll hear people throw that term unconditional love out a lot. And maybe they do feel unconditional love for somebody, or maybe they don't. I mean, but everybody's definition of that probably is a little bit different, right? So I'm going to give my take on what unconditional love means, right? Unconditional love does not mean unconditional, let you walk all over me. Okay? For sure, unconditional love is, like as far as the spiritual definition or God's definition, is agape love, right? Agape love is basically when you decide to love somebody, to see them all the way through a particular, I'm checking something. If you want, basically the Bible talks about agape love is when you attach yourself to somebody, right, for a purpose, or to see them all the way through to that purpose. So the example in the Bible that they give is, remember when Jesus talked about the Samaritan on the side of the road, when that man got robbed and beat down, and he was on the side of the road, left for dead, and passerbys all walked by and nobody did anything. And then the one person, the Samaritan, who was like, I guess not his in his nationality, right? So that was the point of it, was that it was actually like a stranger or somebody who wasn't, a Jew, I guess, took him and not only took care of him, cleaned him up or whatever, and then helped him, took him to like the hotel or whatever, the local inn or someplace for him to stay and get healed. And then he continued to go and check on him and, pay for him or whatever, take care of this, that, and the other, right? So that's agape love. That's what we know to be agape love. And also unconditional love, right? Because there were no conditions placed on the love that this person showed for this stranger, right? There was no conditions. He didn't say, I'm going to help you, but when you come back, or when you get you come from being unconscious, or whenever you wake up or you get healed, I'm going to expect you to pay me back, right? Or I'm going to expect you to, do something for me that is as nice as what I've done for you, right? So there was no conditions placed on the love. There was no conditions placed. Like, there was literally, he expected nothing in return. He just knew that it was the right thing to do, was to take care of the stranger who was hurt, right? So that is unconditional love, right? So, checking something over here on my other phone. Yeah, so that is unconditional love. Now, and it's like agape love. It's a form of agape love, right? What I've learned at this day and age, you obviously can't be that way for everybody. There's only so much of you that you can't spread yourself thin and, really, really unconditionally love everybody, right? But you can decide to, show this unconditional love to maybe a select few, or maybe let's say if you're married, to your significant other, or maybe to your family, or just a friend, or maybe you have a best friend who's down for you, or whatever, that you might decide to never leave that person, or never leave that, make sure that they get everything they need done, or whatever, like you're always there for them, or whatever. You want to show that person unconditional love. One of the things that I've learned through the years, like even from before Travis ever passing away, like from way back when, that there are times in people's relationships and stuff that you have to quote unquote unconditionally love them in a very limited way though, right? It's not so much that you expect anything back or there's any conditions, but the behavior sometimes that they may be displaying to you, right, is it's not even warranted, the love. Like, they don't even deserve that unconditional love, right? But if the unconditional love or agape love that you have, if it's really coming from God, right? If it's really coming from a good place, a spiritual place, part of that unconditional love is wanting to see that other person better, happier, or in a better place, you know, or doing well, growing, just definitely being better. No matter if you decide to be with that person or not, right? That you are still wishing well for that person, maybe even praying for them, right? Unconditional love does not mean that you unconditionally open your wallet. Like, you know, somebody could treat you really bad and then they may want to, you know, hey, you know, I know I haven't talked to you in like, you know, a year or something, but hey, can I borrow $500 or something like that? And you're like, huh? No, that's not happening, right? Unconditional love doesn't mean letting somebody take advantage of you unconditionally or forever and ever till, you know, death do you part. In Jesus' name, amen. No, that's not what it means. Unconditional love is that you have a place in your heart that, you know, comes from God, that is always going to come from a good place, right? And that you can wish that person well. Also, unconditional love also means that sometimes when somebody shows you their true self, or, you know, or they show you the value that you hold in their life, right? And it may not even be the same, but sometimes it's loving for that other person to basically that you limit your unconditional love, that it's very limited. So it's like a friend of mine called it where you love somebody with a long ladle spoon. So it's like a long handle spoon, right? So what you're doing is like stirring the pot, like from a distance, like this. Like you can love somebody. I'm gonna give you some love like this from way back here. Like you're not gonna get up close and personal to love that person. So that, again, that could be things like, you know, praying for them, making sure that you know, that their best interest is at heart. You know, like you know, wishing them well, maybe even teaching them lessons. And I don't mean like revenge stuff. No, I just mean like sharing certain truths or things that will help them in their life to do better, to be better. You know, it just could be different things. It really could be different things, but it's in other words, it's things that you could probably do. Doesn't have to be for the opposite sex. It could be for, you know, just for anybody, you know. Like it's definitely not done out of a sexual love or a sexual place, you know what I mean? And it's definitely not a take advantage of you, or, you know what I mean? Like prayer. Prayer is a perfect example of that, right? Because when you pray for somebody, you know, it doesn't cost anything, right? It doesn't cost anything to pray for somebody. And it doesn't take any energy, really. I mean, you know, it doesn't take any real energy to pray for somebody, right? But praying for, like, let's say praying for somebody's downfall. Okay, first of all, we don't, Jehovah doesn't answer those kind of prayers, because that's not going to be answered. Okay. But also, we all know this to be true. We all know to be true that there are some people's prayers hold more weight, right? Because of who they are. I mean, people will say things like because of their spiritual ranking, right? But like, you know, if you've got if your granny has been a prayer warrior and she has, you know, done right her whole life, and she has literally been by the Lord's side her whole life, and she puts you on her prayer list, you just know, oh, God's about to hear that prayer. Like, you'll hear people say things like that, right? And it is true that the Bible does say that. The Bible does say that he answers the prayers of the righteous. And he listens to them, right? And then we also know that there's ways that you can literally grieve the Holy Spirit and make your prayers be hindered by how you are treating your significant other. Like men, especially men, when they're supposed to be taking the lead, in the congregation or in their, relationship or whatever, and they are making their significant other cry, they're lying, they're being deceitful or whatever, their prayers are going to be hindered. That's how, you got to be careful of that, right? So when somebody says, I love you unconditionally, and part of that means I'm going to pray for you, right? That is still a very big deal, because that person doesn't have to do that, right? The person doesn't have to do that. And also that person might actually feel like they've been hurt by you, by the person they're praying for, right? But the thing about that is that we're taught in the Bible that we're supposed to do that. Like, we're supposed to pray for our enemies. We're supposed to actually pray for our enemies. But especially if the person has hurt you, but they're not even your enemy, but you definitely feel like they need prayer. That is still a form of sending out a blessing over somebody's life, right? And so a lot of times, I know for me, when I say, if I unconditionally love you, that means, okay, I can decide that for whatever reason or another, I might have just decided to, unconditionally love somebody, have a spot for them in my heart, always have a spot there, right? But based on that person's actions, it doesn't mean that that person has a revolving door in your life. Like, that they could just come in and out as they see fit, or as they please, or as they want. And it also doesn't mean that that person has an unlimited access to your energy, to me, like to my energy, for say, as an example. Like, I can absolutely, I've learned to love unconditionally people from a distance, right? Literally from, like, without talking to them. Like, they have proven themselves to me and everything I've needed to know or whatever. And I can absolutely pray for them and still care for them and literally never have to see them again. Okay, because it's like, number one, I don't want any bad, karma to come into my way. I'm not trying to wish anybody evil or whatever. I don't want anything like that. But number two, I always come from a place of love. Like, I don't even wish evil on anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even have thoughts like that. They think the only person I've ever thought of in my life that I think, if I had the ability to, wish evil on, was Hitler. I mean, if I'm being honest, like, that's the only time whenever I read about or watch the videos or I see, documentaries and stuff on Hitler, I just think to myself, like, gosh, if he was back alive now, whatever, I think I would literally want to kill him slowly, like, make him suffer for the massive amount of people that he was responsible for killing. It's just really, really bad, right? So that I literally don't really think like that. Like, I don't think of ill on anybody, even when they treat me wrong, right? And so I want to encourage other people, to always, release people in love, but also to just learn how to be okay with loving someone in your heart. And that's it. That's where they belong. That it doesn't mean that there has to be anything else done. It doesn't mean that you have to actually do anything else for that person, right? Did you have to actually physically be in the same house with that person, or that you guys have to live in the same state, or you have to live in the same country, or even that they have to be alive? Because it's like, I still love my husband, my first husband, who passed away, and he's passed, right? But I think about him all the time. I still respect him in my heart. I still think about his memory. I know one day we will be reunited again in some way, shape, or form. And I know everybody has different beliefs or whatever. Some people say in heaven, and we say the new world, because that's what the Bible says is the new world. So at some point, I will see him again. And I used to always say as a joke, I used to always say, when I see him again, I'm going to kill him again, because really he left me alone with these boys to raise by myself. But now, of course, I've passed that. But anyway, I can still have love for him in my heart, but I can't act on it, right? I can't do anything else to show him that I love him, because he's physically not here, right? And I have already learned that fact, and have already learned the art of that feeling. Like, I've already learned and discovered that that is a real thing. Like I literally can still have love for somebody in my heart and absolutely be with somebody else. You know, like, don't have any future plans with that person, right? And so I'm going to encourage, you know, all of you out there that, you know, understand what unconditional love means. You know, like, you can forgive somebody and absolutely forgive them and have love for them in your heart. Don't wish them no evil. You know, you can still pray for them. And even if you were to see that person on the side of the road, you know you're not going to walk right past them. You know, you're going to be like, hey, what can I do for you? Or you need some food or something like that. You may not go overboard, or you may not go beyond what you feel is, you know, important. You're definitely not going to probably bend your back if that person hasn't deserved that, right? Or hasn't, you know, has shown you a side of them that is unhealthy or toxic, you know, or wrong, you know, or if they made the decision to, you know, go in a different direction. Like, I knew a person who absolutely told me, you know, and felt like I was everything he would ever want. Okay. And you know, that I was the perfect girl of his dreams and all this kind of stuff. And I showed him in my actions unconditional love. And I absolutely my actions backed up my words, right? But his actions did not. And so I'm not the kind of person that I don't sit in the corner and, you know, like, lick my wounds and cry and spew hate, or, you know, build up resentment, or think about toxic things that I could do, or anything like that, right? I'm just not that kind of person. You know, I'm not going to stay in stuff too long, right? I'm pretty much more the type of person that I feel my feelings and I release them to God. Because I've just learned to do that. I've just learned to absolutely do that, right? But it doesn't matter what that person said, or it doesn't matter if that person decided to see value in me or not, or decided to act upon that in a proper way or not. It doesn't matter. That I still have unconditional love for them, right? Now, my mom used to always say something like, some people now, actually, we would say things like some boys or some men. We would say things like some guys, some boys, and this goes for children too. Like, some of your children, you could try to teach them or show them or talk to them or give them advice, right? And some will take that. Some will listen or heed your advice, or can literally learn from just listening. And then there are some people in life who have to learn from the school of hard knocks. That's what my mom says, the school of hard knocks. So the school of hard knocks could be like, they have to learn from going to jail. Like, some people just don't learn until they're in prison. Like, to not rob, steal, you know, whatever bad thing they were doing, you know, stealing cars or whatever, selling drugs, or, you know, whatever it is that they were doing that they shouldn't have been doing, that was actually illegal, because, you know, whether or not they feel like it was right or not or whatever, you know, because again, I know people, you know, I'm not here to talk about weed and everything, but the point is that, you know, some people learn by taking a time out, sitting their butt down in prison somewhere or in jail or whatever, and even God sees that. So a lot of times God says, oh, no, that behavior is not okay. You are about to go, you need to go sit your butt down and think about your actions for a while. You know what I'm saying? To humble that person, right? Because they have to go to the school of hard knocks. Some men, you know, it's like they don't appreciate what they have until they lose it, right? When they lose that person that maybe showed that unconditional love, or, you know, was their support system, or was the best person that ever loved them, you know, or, you know, showed them the most love, and they even know that, right? But, like, it's not until that person is gone or has made the decision to, you know, leave the building, like, as they say, you know, what do they say, Elvis has left the building. And now they're only getting prayers from a distance. And it depends on what the prayers are. The prayers might sound something like, Lord, please don't help me, or help me to not hate this person. It just depends on what the prayers are, right? Because God's listening to them, right? But those kind of people who have to, let that good woman, that good wife, that good friend, whatever, leave their life before they actually see the value of that person. I'm going to tell you from my experience, that type of a person, that type of a man, or that type of a friend, or that type of a fair weather kind of a person who just needs to lose something to value it, is a very difficult person to ever be in an actual relationship with. Because your entire relationship is going to always be, okay, I told you so. Okay, I told you so. Okay, it's going to be a constant state of like struggle that you have. If you have to feel like you constantly have to like, and I know women, I left him 6 times. Honey, you should have left him once and then don't go back. Okay? Because that's the kind of person who will just literally learn their lesson or exhibit as soon as they miss you, or as soon as they realize you're gone or whatever, and then they want to like make changes or whatever, but the changes are not permanent. And it's literally because it's like, oh, they don't like the feeling of the loss in their life. And it's like, let's try to work this out. Let's try to, make this come back together or whatever. And it's like, no, right? Because for me, I know I could be very if I have to leave somebody's butt for good, but it actually evokes a change in this person's attitude and a change in this person's actions and in their thoughts. If they actually make those needed changes, now for the next person, they will be maybe a better version. They will show up with a better version of themselves. Okay? And I'm happy with that being the outcome to my unconditional love and support, because I might literally be able to actually I might, believe it or not, be the type of person who can actually determine if that is the best thing for that person, right? Like I can literally look at a person's patterns and habits or whatnot, or a situation or whatever, and say the best thing for that person, right, is for me to stay forever gone out of their life, because I will forever be the one that taught them that lesson, right? And they won't forget that lesson. They will remember, I should have treated this person right. So now when another woman comes into their life who treats them maybe similar, or they recognize that unconditional love or godly love or whatever you want to say, they'll recognize it with the next woman, and will say, you know what, I better treat this one right, because I've already lost one like this. I've already lost one like this. I'm never going to lose another one who's like this again, right? And then I feel like, you know what, I know I might have been collateral damage in that person's life, right? And I might have had to go through some things, but because I have a vertical relationship with my God, up and down, right? My relationship with God is not horizontal. I don't need to look around and get validation from everybody else for my relationship with God, because I have taken time from a very young age to work on my relationship with God. I have literally, from a young age, been that little girl, that young girl who actually took the time to pray and learn and study and read my Bible and all of those things, right? So I don't need validation from other people to tell me, yeah, God thinks I did the right thing, or that I didn't. I don't need that, right? I can just pray about it myself and get the confirmation I need from the man above. Okay? And this is something that is it's valuable, because you do need to know who to bestow unconditional love on, and to what level or to what extent or how. And if it doesn't match what that other person thinks your unconditional love should look like, you need to be okay and right with God to stand firm in your decision. And I got about 3 different people right now who are definitely in that spot where I unconditionally love them from afar with a long ladle spoon, right? It just happens. It's part of life, right? So, a lot of people, when they get angry or upset with somebody in their, that they have a relationship with or whatever, they're either married to, or they were a long-term relationship or whatever, they will harbor that resentment, and they will be like, I don't love him anymore, I hate him. Or they will, say that or whatever, right? And it's like, it's better to cultivate and understand that the unconditional love, it can take on different definitions, or it can look differently than what that person was originally getting from you, right? So trying to put it into words that that I think are clear. I'm trying to put it into words. It's more like a feeling to me. It's more like a feeling. It's more like a feeling of like, let me give you an example. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you were with somebody, and you unconditionally love them and everything, and then for whatever reason it doesn't work out between the two of you, or you decide to break up or whatever. And then even if that person wants you back, or that person does try to get back, whatever, but you know that they are the type of person that they just can't learn like that. They really are going to have to learn from just losing the most valuable person they've ever had, right? And then you see them, let's say in the store, walking or whatever with their new person, right? And you see them, and you are in that moment, you can wish them well and wish good upon them and have happy thoughts, or you can harbor secret resentment or jealousy or things like that, because that's really going to decipher if you actually praying for that person, or if you actually did the right thing or not, right? And I'm definitely the kind of person that if I come to the place of letting somebody go, and I just let you go, like, because I've had to make that decision, usually every time for me, it's never because, it's always been because my hands are tied, or because it's what that person is presenting to me, right? But for me personally, when I come to that place or whatever, I've definitely decided I can definitely love you from a distance, right? And I am absolutely okay with that, and have made that decision, and I won't harbor any jealousy at all. It's like one of my exes called me the other day and was asking what would I say if a new person called me to validate his his character, or whatever. And I absolutely would be honest. And I absolutely told him what I would say, because it is absolutely the truth, right? Because I would be very truthful. And I absolutely hold no resentment or no jealousy. Because for me, like I said, by the time I've gotten to the point of stepping back and literally walking away, like making a decision to leave, I've already prepared mentally that means being able to see that person happier with somebody else. And maybe he's actually learned through the experience of me to show up differently in the next one, right? And without holding any kind of resentment in my heart, or feelings like, well, you shouldn't have, you should be better or whatever. Like, I've already worked through all that, right? And I am truly that type of a person. I very much, I am not the kind of person that's just gonna like, so-and-so didn't work out or something like that, and I'm gonna sit in the corner and stew over it and, just never be able to move on or never be able to, make changes, even whatever changes I need to make or whatever. Like, I'm so not that kind of person. I'm very much the kind of person that's like, we're gonna work this out and work this through. You know why? One of the main things is that for me, I really do wake up every day with the thought of, okay, I'm here another day. Because like I said, when my first husband passed away so suddenly of a heart attack, very suddenly, it was so unexpected. When I say it changed me drastically who I am, I mean, it really changed who I am. It changed how I approach life and how I, just how I view life in general, and you hear people say every day is a gift, right? That's such a common thing to say that a lot of people, you just take that for granted. You're like, yeah, every day is a gift. Okay. But then there's some of us who actually feel that way, who literally on a daily, like every morning they wake up and they're like, wow, okay, I'm here another day. This is a gift, right? Because I could be 6 feet under. And I look at it as like that, like just like that. Like, okay, I'm here another day. I don't want to waste it wallowing, or going around in circles over, somebody, some situation or something, right? And I'm not saying that there are situations and things that don't take time to work them through, right? But I've always been the type of person to any kind of situation I go through, any hardship or any kind of, if you want to say misfortune or whatever, to grow from it, to grow, get stronger, and to learn more, to be better. That's just how I come at it. That's how I approach it. That's just literally, it's like, I want to grow from this so that I, A, don't repeat it again, but B, I don't waste this day that I have to live on this life, on this planet. Like, I'm here and I am okay with feeling the feelings. I don't run from sad feelings because I know that me having feelings means I'm not 6 feet under, and I'd rather have feelings than be 6 feet under, right? So it's appreciation, Anyway, I want to, in the same way that I unconditionally love somebody else, I want to unconditionally love myself, right? And unconditionally loving myself is learning to show yourself the same grace and the same forgiveness, the same kindness, the same whatever that you might share or you do for somebody else, that you bestow upon somebody else, you bestow upon yourself. Right? Because you need that. You need to have a healthy self-esteem to be able to not take things personal. Not take things, and not take, it could be anything. People these days, they love to body shame you. They love to say things about you, especially if they are very unhealed, especially if they're immature, unhealed, or jealous or whatever. They will just, say anything to try to get you upset. Well, you always did this, or you are this, or you are that, or, you're ugly, or, I don't like your teeth, like those things are, that is such a unhealthy approach to life in general, right? So, doing that kind of thing, or experiencing that kind of thing, if you don't have a healthy, viewpoint of life in general, spirituality, God, if you don't come from that place, you can take those personal attacks or whatever that I know are coming from a negative place. I know where they're coming from. It could be coming from hurt, pain, jealousy, whatever, unhealed, basically. Somebody unhealed. Because hurt people. We know this. So if I take that personal, right, and I allow that to keep me in the corner somewhere and not grow, then I can't be a blessing to those who God has on purpose put in my heart to be a blessing too, right? Like me wanting to help widows, and orphans, like the Bible talks about, right? So I can't allow situations or people or what they say, you can't allow things to get to you in that kind of a personal way. You have to have such a strong relationship with God that you really do know that He is your source of life. He's your source of love. He is your source of abundance. He is your Savior. I mean, of course, Jesus Christ is our Savior, but I mean, God is the one. He does get the glory. it's him. He is the one, right? And when you know that everything comes from him, anything that anybody else does for you or whatever is just extra, and is I look at it as just extra. It's a blessing. It's like, okay, if I get to, if somebody is a healthy person, a healed person, a loving person, and they're not toxic or whatever, and they want to love me or whatever, they want to show love, bestow love on me, whatever it may be, whether it be, you know, a girlfriend or, you know, a guy friend, you know, like a friend, or, you know, whatever kind of relationship. The fact is I feel like that's extra and icing on the cake to what already my home base is, which is God loving me and my love coming from God. You know, I don't care if, you know, people want to make fun of this, that, and the other, or they don't like your eyebrows, or they don't like your hair, or they don't like your style, or they don't like your earring, you know, just whatever, you know, like when you were in school and these kids would throw out things or whatever. You have to be firm in yourself and you know, have a healthy self-esteem, right? To be able to continue to show unconditional love and to be able to still want to edify and see good for others, or especially somebody that hurt you. To be able to do that, it literally has to come from a place of healthy love, because you know you are getting it unconditionally from God, right? So anyway, that's my point. That's all I wanted to bring up today. That's all I wanted to talk about, is share and express. And okay, bye.